by SME.
In the flight deck and follow the instructions in the cabin crew at all times.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Charles de Gaulle International Airport, Paris.
En application du permis 51
Ici à droite, madame.
Collect all your belongings. Nicola Borgoglio di Bari.
Interdit de fumer. Cela concerne également les vapoteuses et les cigarettes électroniques. L'équipage présent en questionnement de tous les dispositifs de sécurité présents à bord.
Et va la consulter à nous arrêter quand nous passons en cabine. Nous acceptons uniquement le paiement par carte de crédit, le paiement sans contact est à
night. I see you when I start to close my eyes. Goodbyes. I feel your body burning on my mind. Still don't know why we let go. I'm trying to find a little closure. I guess we just need some time. But if you wanna come on over, baby, that's alright. Would you hate me if I pulled you closer? If only for another night. Trying, baby. I just can't forget you. Can't stop loving you. Waking up beside you like it's habit.
Attentif à vos effets personnels, en particulier
We're getting on or off the track. Thank you. The Indian was
Every time it's just so bad.
Apollo de mon vin, down to Goalkeeper, listening to the wind, through my way, and I without change.
Kessin Kirchner.
As you dance around, you've got me 10 feet off the ground. I can breathe, I can see. When I got your love, when I got your love, when I got your love. We'll walk through sunshine, we'll dance in the Still think about that empty field, just you and me in time. First kiss, I didn't know would come. You laughing at my stupid jokes, both of us wishing we were old right then, 'cause we knew it was love. And everybody says take it slow, but I think it's true when you know you know. Yeah, we could be dancing all night, waking up for the sunrise, late 'cause we're losing track of time. Yeah, we're in young love, 'cause when I'm with you it feels like falling in love for the first time. It'll always be true. Yeah, I know we're in young love. Oh, oh, oh. Yeah, I know we're in young love. Slow dancing in
Bonsoir. Hello.
Laisse-moi des verres quand même, là.
Güey, el Sánchez de Aranches. De una línea especial, ¿no?
Posé pour 12,50 €. Moi je vais ça.
Baby, I should know better. Should keep it You got me shaking, yeah, I feel the fever coming on. Oh, you know you're all I want. Keep saying that I hate it, but it's kind of fun. Lots of making on the plane. No more days. Say this one instead of running away. It's been a weekend here, this weekend, sleeping and let the feelings overflow. Use this time to fight this, let's just give in and let the feelings overflow. I tried to shake it, find a way to get you off my mind. Really tried to draw that line. I'm thinking I call you mine. Baby, you got my hands tied. No more games. Can we just say running away, jumping the gun.
Regarde
I found that photo in the sofa, and it's from way back in '01. So I guess there's much I never told you, like who I am, who I love, where I've been and where I came from. Grew up on 913 of Blue Rock. Memories of 6 kids running around those halls. And out in the California sunshine, we wore no shoes through alley-oops and shattered windows throwing baseballs. Mom packed me a brown bag every day, from 5 years old up to 18. A note that said I love you, Jackson. And all my friends, they're begging me, making bids on Mom's fresh cookies. And I quit playing ball at age 15, traded my new bat for an old guitar. It broke Dad's heart, but he still loved me, and he was there at every show. No more jersey, just tuxedos. Ooh.
الحب.
comme tous les deux.
I've been to many places and won so many races. I was a child. But now my only way is now, and my only way is when I'm by your side. My friends are sitting laughing, but I they're knocking on my door, but I'm knocking them down. They say I'm acting crazy, but I just wanna lie in the sun. Lie in the sun. Yeah. Lie in the sun. My friends are sitting laughing, but I just keep on knocking. They're knocking on my door, but I'm knocking them down. They say I'm acting crazy, but I just wanna lie in the sun. Yeah, lie in the sun.
Oh, I forgot.
My friends are sitting laughing, but I just keep on knocking. They're knocking on my door, but I'm knocking them down. They say I'm acting crazy, but I just wanna lie in the sun.
These days are running slow. Sunsets and shores far from home. Headlights are shining on the sea. No place on earth I'd rather be. And I could try to just follow the sweat, but I'll never find the same. faces on the road. And I'm coming close to this, I'm sure. And I try to say the sunrise the same. But tell me, have you ever danced in the rain? And I could try to just follow the sweat, but I'll never find this anywhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, the museum will be closing in 10 minutes.
S'il vous plaît, please.
How many? How often?
Exactement.
Mesdames, Messieurs, comme dans tous les espaces publics, nous vous invitons à être attentifs à vos effets personnels, en particulier en montant et en descendant.
N'oubliez pas de valider votre titre de transport à chaque montée.
I think it's too sweet.
For Messier Hero, you can go for a parfum that is more concentrated, shower gel, corporal cream, or home diffuser. In the sun contact for 1 month, 3-4 weeks. Not to worry, not to apply it, just to.
Il n'y avait pas la façade avant, c'était quoi? C'était humide.
can't remember her name. Oh, I know, right? So you find out. No favorite. Brock. Caesar. This
Ok, merci beaucoup.
De la matière. Moi, j'adore la matière.
아유, 토마토요. 그러니까 그때 내가 이거
Saturday by the sea, got somewhere we need to be, we just stay here. Like the feel of something new, showing up out of the blue, never been so clear. Psychedelic, maybe it's magic, maybe we're just high. sugar sweet. You got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion, just my kind of heat. Keep it on repeat. Tested by the motion, loving this devotion.
Mais c'est pourtant les mêmes. Elles sont quand même du tout monde. Le diable, il y a du campagne. Donc elles sont 10. Un peu plus de 20% parfois dans le... Dans le cuir.
C'est 7h45. La version surprise.
Les femmes et les hommes, on est différents. Ça change.
Il n'y a pas d'immobilisme.
Bonne journée, see you soon. Au revoir. Au revoir. One of the main projects.
I'll take you away to where the sun shines so bright, so bright. You can stare at the stars at night. You can tell me anything you like. I'll take you away to where the sun shines so bright, so bright. You can stare at the stars at night. You can tell me
Alla får det ju. Alla pensionärer i Sverige har det.
Ja, men det beror på att hjärnan är förändrad och man tror att man blir lätt stressad. De har egentligen inte
Thank you. It's okay? Perfect. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Die Hunde müssen an der Leine.
Faites de belles photos.
Ouais, merci beaucoup. Merci.
Ah oui, oh bah tu sais, il y en a.
Là-bas, vous avez l'aéroport. Je sais pas si vous voyez, on en a comme deux. Là-bas, vous avez une ville de l'Ain sur Cap d'Antibes. Vous voyez jusqu'au grand de Saint-Tropez. L'aéroport, vous voyez, juste à côté. L'aéroport de Nice. Donc là, Cap Ferrat, Cap de Nice. Oh, here.
Desa kan siya. Ya, dari Stop.
Allez, vamos por aquí.
Ah, effectivement, tu avais raison, c'est le point.
Ah, Philippe.
Il n'y a pas de prix de Tessa Guillaume.
talk about growing more green or no?
On va marcher.
Avez-vous pensé à emporter vos bagages et effets personnels?
Okay, we'll go there next time. Yeah, that does look nice.
Some greenery.
Ah,
Non, je vais faire ça.
ah. For example,
Non, mais ça va, c'est pour faire penser qu'il faut...
Qui in Francia è così.
J'ai appelé la Bélgique tout à l'heure. Non, c'est là. Oui, oui.
あげましょう。
Well, I guess I'll thank you.
Prochain arrêt, Gassin-Kirchner. Gassin-Kirchner.
Mesdames, Messieurs, terminus, tous les passagers descendent. À bientôt.
Every time it's just so classic.